We want to welcome you to the Flathead Home Show. We're back, and every single week we talk about trends in real estate right here in the Flathead. I'm Leah Lindsay.
And I'm Justin Meccia, and empowering this Flathead Home Show are our good friends Brian Murphy and Nikki Marengo over at Rocky Mountain Real Estate.
And also making the show possible, we have NuWest Builders and Eric Payne, Murphy's Carpet Cleaning and Stat Restoration. And today we got some great panelists in. We're going to talk about VRBO. What is that?
How is it looking in the marketplace here in the Flathead?
That's right. So we're welcoming Mark Mussman, who is the director of the Flathead County Planning and Zoning, and Barb Riley from PureWest Real Estate at Meadow Lake. Hello. How you guys doing?
Good?
Dandy. Yeah.
Thanks.
Handy.
Dandy.
Dandy.
I think I heard a dandy.
Yeah, it's a dandy.
Yeah,
Handy
excellent.
dandy.
So, Mark and Barb, in the past, we've discussed some of the short-term rental possibility or vacation rental property possibility here in the Flathead via maybe the investor standpoint. I wanted to get into maybe perhaps the residents side of things, the other side of the spectrum here, and see what it's like to live in something like this or occupy an opportunity like this. Maybe it's a resident who rents out their opportunity, their condo or their house part-time or seasonally. Barb, I understand in the real estate side of things, this is something that you've had your hands on for quite a while?
About 30 years.
Whoa, 30 years.
30 years. Started out in resort management in Meadow Lake, which was one of the first master planned communities in the area. And they were one of the first areas that started what was before was just rentals. And you didn't really think of the VRBO as the vacation rent by owner, but it took on that connotation.
And I think that was one question I wanted to ask you, and maybe to clarify, because I know what a VRBO is, and you do, but what about a lot of people listening might not have any idea. So could you kind of tell us what that is?
VRBO stands for Vacation Rent by Owner.
Okay.
And it has taken on a life of its own over probably the last 6 to 8 years. There's always been rentals in the marketplace. People looking for destinations, especially into areas where we have these national attractions like Glacier National Park or golf courses. We've always had this destination rental request. But it's taken on a new world in the online community where we had to get to some acronyms. So VRBO.com and HomeAway are now those terms.
Difference between a VRBO and an Airbnb?
Airbnb, the owner generally still is living in the home.
Okay.
And rents out one space.
I always wonder, know.
Very similar. The B&B port of that is the bed and breakfast, which usually requires a homeowner or manager occupant to the property.
Okay.
Under VRBO, you're generally seeing the guest or tenant taking the entire facility that's available to them during the duration of their reservation.
Got it. So now, all of this is underneath the umbrella of short-term rental.
That's correct.
Which is what Mark has his eyes on, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So you get to make all these decisions in Flathead County, right? With the assistance of the commissioners.
Well, until last August, short-term rentals in zoned areas were not permitted. Single-family dwelling definition included with stays of 30 days or longer. There were a few zoning districts that did allow tourist accommodations. And of course, Flathead County is full of unzoned areas. And so, of course, in the unzoned areas, it was a permitted use because there aren't any land use regulations. So the Northwest Montana Association of Realtors submitted a text amendment request to include the ability to short-term rent in residential zones.
Within zoned areas.
Within zoned areas of all the residential zones essentially are all zones that allowed single-family dwellings as a permitted use. And that took, it took about 9 months to get through the process. A couple of hearings in front of the planning board and the commissioners. And early last August, it became a permitted, or actually it's an administrative conditional use in order to be able to short-term rent a single-family dwelling. And we, in the zoned areas, and we concentrated mostly the model of the vacation rental by owner, the VRBO model of the whole house.
Okay.
And not the Airbnb model, which is
just a room.
Airbnb does have whole houses listed But that traditional Airbnb model where, I'm just going through town, I need a room to stay in. It's kind of like having your kid come and spend the night and off the next day.
Kind of. Okay. Okay. So that makes some sense to me. But how do you make these decisions then?
Well, there's some guidelines that they have to meet, and the discussion during the whole approval process was, the effect on the neighborhood. And I must say that, I own a piece of property just off of Lake Coeur d'Alene in northern Idaho, and most areas like that, similar to Flathead County and Flathead Lake and all the other lakes, a lot of absentee owners. Mm-hmm. And so very few full-time owners and a lot of turnover. And so you don't really know your neighbors anyway. So,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So to what impact could you have on your neighbors if you don't really know them, or why would you even care?
Correct.
May as well make the extra money, right?
Yeah, and it's a way for people to invest, use the property. A lot of people, come and stay in their home for like 2 weeks in the summertime. Who wouldn't want to? With
regards to marketplace, Barb, because I'm familiar with how you've advocated the sale of plenty of homes that are very much eligible for vacation rental income. Mm-hmm. Has there been a surge in this type of investor purchase over the last few years?
I think the people that are looking to acquire a property in the valley that has the potential to help carry some of its expenses through rental revenue while they're either watching it appreciate in value or they're looking at it being their retirement or second home that they will be able to enjoy it at another time. Perhaps they're not able to leave their current location. So yes, we have seen an uptick in that.
We've also seen an uptick in the number of hotels being built in the county. Is that a response to perhaps the money getting thrown at these VRBOs and Airbnbs, or is that just general demand?
I think that's general demand. Okay. However, I believe that it is impacting the production or the productivity of a VRBO. We used to average the properties that we've managed over the years. They're primarily in golf season accommodations for most part. Some with ski activity available to them or other winter activities available to them. But the average home was 120 to 140 nights a year.
Wow.
And now we're looking at, if you can budget and you can make this work on 100 nights a year, and it's on a return of investment, the number needs to be on that purchase right now. It's running at about $400,000. If you're above $400,000 in your purchase, your rental rates per night cost, given the competition in the marketplace, may not satisfy all of your operating expenses as well as potentially debt service that may come in.
Oh, so what I'm hearing is if you're under $400K and you have that possibility, you could see some healthy income here. At least enough to...
It can.
Yeah.
It has potential to that. A lot of what we see is the dependent of that revenue is where it's located. If it's centrally located, a lot of our amenities that are available in our marketplace, amenities that might be in the neighborhood of that location, accessibility, those will all play factors in the product, the profitability, if you will, of a property.
So across the Flathead, for both of you, where are the majority? I mean, I'm going to guess Whitefish. I know Columbia Falls has a lot of them. Big Fork, Polson. I mean, where's the lion's share?
Well, that's hard for me to determine. I know that going through the process, researching VRBO and Airbnb, your most likely areas a lot in Big Fork, Whitefish area outside, and around the lakes.
Gotcha. Well, we are talking about VRBO right here in the Flathead. We got to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and continue this discussion. Thank you so much for joining us today, both Barb Riley from PureWest Real Estate Meadow Lake and Mark Mussman, Director of Flathead County Planning and Zoning.
Yes.
And of course, our show, Justin, brought to us by
Brian Murphy and Nikki Marengo with Rocky Mountain Real Estate, ReMax Rocky Mountain Real Estate. Right?
And Murphy's Carpet Cleaning, Stat Restoration, and NuWest Builders. And Eric Payne will be back.
Ken at Escape Now Spas understands the power of escaping to a world of peace and relaxation. He's using his 22 years of pool and spa repair expertise to bring high-quality American-made spas to the Flathead Valley. Mention this ad and receive $1,000 off Platinum Series spas, $750 off Escape Plus Series, $500 off Escape Series, and $250 off Patio Series spas. Escape Now Spas also offers pool and spa chemicals. Visit Ken at the Mountain Mall in Whitefish for your new spa today.
Are you planning on building your dream home or maybe renovating your current one? As a Flathead Parade of Homes multiple-time award winner, Eric Payne with NuWest Builders will bring your vision to life. An experienced contractor, NuWest Builders partners with you from design to site prep through construction and completion, exceeding your expectations every step of the way at a drastically more affordable rate than you ever thought possible. Find out more online, NuWestBuilders.com. NuWest Builders, the luxury high-end custom home builder. Luxury as defined by design, not by cost.
When people have a flood or fire, they worry that the repair cost will be more than their insurance company will approve. No worries with Stat Restoration. We use the same estimating software and pricing as the insurance companies. Plus, we work directly with your adjuster so you don't have to. Take your worry out of that flood or fire. Call Stat Restoration. We are your masters of disaster.
Welcome back to the Flathead Home Show. Well, I'm Leah Lindsay.
And I'm Justin Meccia. And the Flathead Home Show, of course, is powered by Brian Murphy and Nikki Marengo with ReMax Rocky Mountain Real Estate.
NuWest Builders, Murphy's Carpet Cleaning, Stat Restoration, and Escape Now Spas. So Mark Mussman with us, a Director of Flathead County Planning and Zoning, and Barb Riley, who is here with PureWest Real Estate, Meadow Lake. So we're talking about VRBOs and how do we know if we can have one in our very own home? I mean, I got extra rooms in my home.
Can I have some extra income?
Can I make some money here?
Or better yet, prior to the break, Mark was talking about the vacation home possibilities in Coeur d'Alene and how there's a lot of people there who are not owner-occupied. They don't occupy all year. Maybe we have some people here who don't occupy all year, and during the times that they're gone, perhaps maybe they can turn it over to someone like Barb Riley and just say, hey, rent this thing out. How do we find out if it's possible?
We advise our clients when we're talking about the opportunities that there's a good resource now on the county website for VRBO Q&A, frequently asked questions.
Mark, you put that together, didn't you?
I had somebody do it.
Delegation, Leah.
They do have a nice map overlay of the area of the county. Mm-hmm. And then next is, where is your neighborhood? Are there any zoning or covenants issues related to the neighborhood in which you're in that may create its own restriction without even a county word? So that's where we addressed people.
Because, again, prior to the break, you had talked about how just recently Flathead County did allow, with a conditional use permit,
correct,
some short-term rental possibilities within residential zone. Is that all residential zoned?
That is all zones that allow single-family dwellings as a permitted use. So it goes from the agricultural, suburban ag, residential zones.
Okay.
And it's an administrative conditional use permit, which does not require a hearing. An application process. There are a handful of standards that have to be met regardless. Some of them are not administered by our office. An operator for a tourist home has to get a public accommodation license. And there's also the requirement of submitting or remitting the accommodation tax, the state accommodation tax.
Oh, okay. And
a few other minor requirements, off-street parking, and for the most part, they meet all those requirements and go through the process, and there's a very good approval success rate.
That's fantastic news for the Flathead, right? So maybe I'm thinking I want to purchase a home so I can do a VRBO, and what I need to do is talk to a realtor, especially one that's really focusing on VRBO. I mean, all the realtors in the Flathead are pretty phenomenal, but you pack with you like this extra suitcase of
It has been a strong book of business over the years in my real estate practice. We have been managing I own a property management company as well as being an active realtor. And we've been managing properties for private homeowners for almost over 20 years.
So you find the people that are doing the cleaning, coming up with the food and all of the things that kind of, you coordinate that so the homeowner doesn't have to.
That's correct.
So it becomes a turnkey investment opportunity for this investor.
It does. And we take care of making sure that the public accommodation licenses are in place, the lodging taxes are collected, and as a management company, we're registered with the state to manage that out. And we have a reporting process on a quarterly basis and on an annual basis to them.
So I have this great friend, Gail Goodwin. Do you both know Gail? Okay, so she built these tree houses up on Big Mountain. Familiar with that project?
Yes.
Okay.
I know the location.
Yeah. And so, wow, what an amazing concept, right? To build these VRBOs. Is that what they are? Or are they Airbnb? They're not Airbnb, are they?
They've got them listed on HomeAway VRBO.
Okay. So she pretty much kind of manages a lot of it herself. I know she goes and she cleans and she meets the people that come in. And she also has one in Glacier National Park as well. Now, how difficult is that to get a VRBO in Glacier National Park?
Well, I'm not knowing the exact location. I couldn't.
Oh, maybe it's maybe nobody knows about it. No, I'm just kidding. I know it's advertised all over the place, but it's on Lake McDonald. So I don't know how close to.
Well, that's within the park, so there's a different arrangement.
They have different rules.
Correct.
Okay, that's interesting as well.
That's over county lines, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And each city has its own different rules as well.
Correct. And researching what the county did, I know that the city of Columbia Falls for 2 or 3, 4 years had the ability for people to short-term rent their residential houses for similar approval as the county. We kind of copied that.
So Columbia Falls has been doing this for a little while now.
For a little while now.
Okay.
The city of Kalispell took, about 14 months and a lot of iterations before they could finally come up with regulations. But it's similar.
Mm-hmm.
And then the city of Whitefish, only in the more resort residential zoning districts, and I can't, since I'm not with the city, I can't specifically name any of them, but
right.
they're probably the least receptive to everywhere.
In both of your professional opinions, what would be the deterrent to doing something like this? What would be perhaps maybe the county's reasoning for not permitting someone the opportunity to do a short-term rental?
That's a great question.
Or Barb, is there maybe an impact on the supposed value of a community if somebody is doing this? Mark?
That's a pretty good question. I would say the accessibility.
Okay.
What they're requesting. If they're requesting, in a 2-bedroom cabin, they want a maximum occupancy of like 12 or 14. A lot of that has to do with the services they can provide, water and sewer.
So I'm not allowed to take my garage and allowed to rent it out to 8 fraternity boys.
Come on, garage band VRBO.
Yeah. Well, new concepts.
Good concept.
There's no running water, just grab the hose, it's just.
Probably not. You'd want to do that like on Airbnb.
Okay.
You got to figure out where to slip right under.
Yeah. Deposit the rent. And Barb, from maybe a market standpoint, does this ever come up as maybe like a deterrent or something that's considered deferred if this guy across the street's just renting out to a bunch of short-term?
It does impact your neighborhoods.
Okay.
And if you're looking for a single-family home that's across the street and you want that quieter neighborhood, you don't want to see a new neighbor every other weekend visiting, it can impact the value and the desirability of a property.
Mm-hmm.
We do have that in the Meadow Lake golf community. They actually have areas there that are very specifically restricted that cannot have vacation rentals.
Correct.
And in some cases, they may have those residential lots in the outsider loop of a smaller development that does offer it. And so it does impact it. And
so this begins to illustrate the need for NMAR, submitting the letter to the county and saying, hey guys, would you please step up and just start to control this or start to look at this? Because, you're right. If it's just kind of unwarranted and unregulated, then the guy across the street starts to farm his house out every 3 days. And
then the hotels start to get mad, and then nobody's renting them because they're all renting out.
Well, we saw it this winter. We've got a new hotel in the Columbia Falls Marketplace with a Cedar Creek Lodge. And they're large suites, and they're very beautiful. And we saw a lot of winter traffic go to them under the Xanterra Rentals Group versus to the private homes that they normally have done in the past.
Interesting.
And so the hotel business is picking up, partly because of the destination of the whole valley is really becoming a destination.
You think the two feed each other, the hotel community, hospitality community, and then of course the short-term rental opportunities?
I think you get the benefit of both. I think the traveler that's coming in, if it's just a couple that's just passing through, maybe a hotel is a better option for them. But if you're traveling with a larger group or with families, sometimes it's more cost effective for them to consider the home.
Gotcha.
Just because you think about they're mostly self-contained with kitchens and bathrooms and all the goodies that you would want, TVs and everything else, and sometimes other amenities available to them. A hotel may not have that. They're going to be eating out, and so the cost per person on a rental night starts to become the what breaks the decision for them. And it may be more cost effective to take the family into a larger home. It might be $400 a night, but a hotel in the summer months here is you can't get them for $200 a night.
Right.
Sure.
So,
Right. Well, I think it's a pretty fascinating topic for us to explore, and I love the fact that at the Flathead County, which website is it on? Planning and Zoning?
Yes.
That the Q&A is that you have set up. So that's a great resource to be the first go-to place if you're thinking you might want to do this in your own home or maybe purchase a property to do this. And your second step then is to talk to a realtor. I was going to say, as both Barb and Mark have indicated, the association here, the local association, has had their hands in on this for quite a while now, and that encourages me to know that our realtors in this community are really stepping up and really want to be that source of data as much as possible. Encourage this kind of commerce in our community, responsible commerce. Well, we're about out of time. Dang it.
No.
We could talk about this for quite a bit longer, but perhaps you'll come back and join us again for another Flathead Home Show as we've been talking about VRBOs. Barb Riley, PureWest at Meadow Lake, and Mark Mussman, the Director of Flathead County Planning and Zoning.
Thank you both.
Yes, thank you. And VRBO, it's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is.
Head on over to the county website, find out more. I'm Leah Lindsay.
And I'm Justin Meccia.
And we are thanking you for joining us for the Flathead Home Show, which is powered every single week by Brian Murphy and Nikki Marengo from ReMax Rocky Mountain Real Estate. Also, NuWest Builders, Murphy's Carpet Cleaning, Stat Restoration, and Escape Now Spas. It's a Flathead Home Show.
Flathead, welcome home.